Hello, comrades. My name is Yanis Iqbal, and I am an independent researcher and freelance writer based in Aligarh, India. On July 22, 2021, US President Joe Biden announced that he was implementing further sanctions against Cuba's socialist government. He said that these measures were a beginning to a series of other measures. What's the context to this? Beginning from July 11, 2021, protests took place in Cuba for a few days. US's imperialist mafiosos laid their vulturine eyes on these events, sensationalizing the demonstrations as evidence of the fact that the Cuban people were disillusioned with their revolutionary government. The US government was being completely hypocritical. It has, through the National Endowment for Democracy and United States Agency for International Development, allocated hundreds of millions of dollars to promote subversion in Cuba, and it has implemented a genocidal blockade, which is the main cause of economic scarcities in the island country. The American blockade against Cuba has purposefully undermined the Communist Party's efforts to sustain the country's people-centered economy. US's economic warfare has cost the Cuban economy the equivalent of $144 billion over the past decades. Between the 1960s and 1990s, Cuba's socialist engine was oxygenated through Soviet aid. But with the fall of the USSR, the embargo tightened. US government passed a series of laws to punish anyone who would dare to trade with Cuba. Starting in June 2017, the administration of Donald Trump proceeded to implement 243 new sanctions to stiffen the American embargo. By late 2018, his administration, strongly influenced by the Cuban American lobby, and especially Florida's Senator Marco Rubio, restored the old restrictions on US citizens' freedom to travel to Cuba, thereby weakening Cuba's tourist economy. In April 2019, Trump refused to follow the post 1996 pattern of all US presidents, waiving the enactment of Title III of the Helms-Burton legislation, which is an aggressive legislation against Cuba's economy, and it intends to undermine its sustainability. The impact on the Cuban economy of Donald Trump's aggressive measures was instant, with a marked fall in US origin tourism to Cuba, significantly weakening national income and disrupting government plans to sustain the growth in tourist numbers, which had reached over 4 million in 2018. The interlinked nature of global banking soon convinced European and Canadian investors to end their activity in Cuba, dissuading external capital from entering the Cuban economy. This affected the capacity of foreign entities to function without the ability to pay their Cuban counterparts. In spring 2019, Trump additionally ended the 2000 presidential decree to allow US food sales to Cuba on the condition of Cuban prepayment in cash. The move immediately created a shortage of some foodstuffs for most Cuban consumers. Trump then decreed a series of measures to harden sanctions on third party vessels and airlines working with Cuba. Finally, and importantly, Trump made it impossible to send remittances, leading to a loss of $3.5 billion annually, a painful blow to more than half of Cuban families. And Joe Biden has done nothing to reverse this extremely dangerous measure for the Cuban masses. US's economic warfare has gone hand in hand with engineered geopolitical realignments in Latin America. The collapse of oil production in Venezuela, orchestrated by the American empire, has cut off a source of cheap oil for Cuba. US pressure has led other South American governments to cancel medical contracts with Havana and send Cuban doctors home. All of this has led to huge problems in a country which relies on foreign exchange to import 70% of its food, 69% of its oil, and many other pharmaceutical products. For Washington, the emergency situation occasioned by the COVID 19 pandemic has meant little for the hybrid war against Cuba. Suffocating sanctions have intensified, cheered on by the Miami based opposition. Cuba's access to food and fuel has once again been impeded, and foreign export earnings have reduced. Measures to tackle the pandemic have required supplementary resources in the context of declining revenues from tourism with the closure of borders due to the pandemic. Cuba's GDP fell by 11% in 2020, nearly one third of the total fall the island experienced during this special period between 1990 and 1993, following the collapse of the Soviet bloc. Shortages have worsened in the current conjuncture. Poor agricultural production and the pandemic have exacerbated scarcity. Hard currency receipts were just 55% of planned receipts in 2020, while imports fell 30% compared to 2019. Cuba needs hard currency to purchase on the international market. Over half the food, fuel, medicines, and other vital resources consumed on the island are imported. Hence, the unfulfilled needs of the Cuban masses and the long queues for basic necessities. Yankee gangsters seek to provoke social instability and civic strife, encourage frustrations, and take the advantage of the difficult circumstances of a country that has had to wage a difficult battle against the COVID 19 pandemic amid financial strangulation by the most violent country on the world and the stagnation of its main source of income, that is, tourism. However, the US wasn't able to destabilize Cuba's socialist government by provoking protests in the country. These strategies did not prove successful because the social and cultural cohesion of Cuba's socialist regime did not prove to be weak against this constant culture of imperialist fabrications and decontextualized narratives. So, Joe Biden has decided to use intensified economic warfare to finally bring down the communist regime in Cuba. In spite of external pressures, the Cuban Revolution continues to hold up. The basis for this steady existence since 1959 is to be found in the deep reserves of grassroots support. The Cuban Revolution is the incarnation of the Cuban people as a whole and enjoys popular support for its contribution to the struggle for liberation, defense of sovereignty, and independence. That is why we need to support Cuba in the current situation where USA is constantly trying to provoke havoc in the country and bring down the communist regime.